Hello, beautiful girl. Don't slap me. Welcome back to the Philosophy for Philistines channel. We're going to try something completely different today because very often in the past I have alluded to my wife and the things that I have learned as a result of my lengthy, in depth, and penetrating conversations with her. She is a retired Norwegian naval commander and holds a position with her government here in Canada. But I want to talk to her about her experiences as a politician in Norway and having worked within her Defense Department, in the Navy, in the Coast Guard, her experiences in training, and also what she came to understand about postmodernism and cultural Marxism. So, would you like to share something, my dear girl, about your experiences at Shoe Creek School and at your naval college?
I don't know what that should be. It wasn't actually, it wasn't physically straining, but it was mentally. I think it basically was because they thought that I had a really easy time. They thought so, and therefore they gave us.
And who are they?
Well, we were two girls. We were the two first girls.
No, I understand. Okay, so we should explain Anna Truda, who is my wife's colleague
Yeah.
and one of the first two women in Norway to attend Shoe Creek School. Uh, both were at Naval Academy together, which is the equivalent in American terms of going to Annapolis.
Yeah.
So you said they. Who are they?
Well, the boys basically they thought they said we had a very easy time, and therefore they gave us a lot of extra choice. So it was mentally quite straining.
Do you believe that the authorities are trying to prove something by sending you?
Absolutely,
And what do you believe that they were attempting to prove?
they attempted to prove that men and women are the same, and we are not.
And how did you come to that conclusion?
Well, after a few years, I saw that I couldn't be a perfect man. I could never be a perfect man. It was impossible because I'm not a man. I'm a woman. So what I could be was I could be a better woman, and that finally became my aspiration to become the best possible woman.
Of course. Now tell us about your service in the Navy and the Coast Guard.
Yeah, the service was great.
Where did you serve? And what were your duties?
I served on many places. For 1 year, I was on the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard is a part of the armed forces in Norway. So I served on board the Coast Guard for 1 year, and prior to that, I had duties on board the frigates, and
What were those duties?
I was intendant. That means that I was in charge of all the supplies.
So basically, you were a ship chandler.
Yeah, you could say that.
Hmm.
Well, not yeah. You could say that.
And this lasted for what, 7 or 8 years?
No, after a couple of years, I went to the military training or the military armed forces, and I was section leader there for 3 years, and I was in charge of a section at the armed forces head command.
Were you responsible for training at that time?
Yeah, one of the really interesting jobs we had was to send a ship to the Gulf War.
Aye.
So
And what were you able to do for them that had never been done before?
yeah, we set up a next of kin headquarters at the Armed Forces headquarters. We set up a next of kin and media outlet. So we were able to give precise information to the media and to the next of kin.
And also to allow families to communicate with those that were in the conflict.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That was very important, actually. Of course, there was a lot of concerns among the next of kin and families and
Of course.
of all the people that went to the Gulf War.
So you allowed the families to be able to stay in touch with the people who were serving in areas of conflict.
Yeah, and most importantly, they got accurate information.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always, like, as you know, there's always a lot of innuendos and false information. So it was very important to give them accurate information. As accurate as we could.
So tell us about your children, what happened when you chose to have children, and what happened at staff school when you attended the staff college at Akershusfestning.
Yeah. Well, I was due to attend the School of Staff, and I did, and my son was at that point just a few months old. And well, of course they hadn't prepared anything. Nothing was prepared.
Do you think that
I
this...
was the first woman to attend, and they had prepared nothing.
So you had no place to breastfeed the baby.
Yeah.
They couldn't accommodate.
No. No, they couldn't.
Do you think this was deliberate?
In a way, because they wanted still to prove that men and women are the same, and of course we are not.
Tell us about where you had to breastfeed
Yeah,
Didrik.
It was in an empty office upstairs.
Was it not a broom closet?
No, it wasn't a broom closet,
Oh.
but it was an empty office. It was just, it was quite a big room, but there was a desk, and they gave me an office chair with wheels on to sit in and breastfeed my kid. And of course that's totally unacceptable.
Yeah, because you can't get your elbows down past the arms of the office
There's many
chair.
reasons why that's totally stupid. Actually, it's stupid.
So this is obviously a social experiment.
Yeah.
It's an attempt to re-engineer society.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it failed. So after attending staff college, you graduated that course, I take it?
Yeah.
And after some months at the end of your maternity leave, you returned to duty.
Yes, I was scheduled to return to duty, and then I have to go to the...
And what was your rank at the time?
Well, I was at that time, I was at the pay grade of commander.
Mm-hmm.
So my next job would be a commanding job. So I had to go to the headquarters and basically ask, where are you going to send me?
And where were they going to send you?
They were going to send me to Bodø.
Which is within?
Hmm?
Which is within?
It's above the Arctic Circle.
Ah, with an infant.
Yeah.
Hmm?
So I said, you know what I said? Actually, I told them that they are they are incompetent, and I said they are not aware that they are incompetent, and that's the worst part of it.
And what did they say to you as an excuse for doing this,
Yeah, they said I had to prove myself.
even after accomplishing
Yeah.
all that you had accomplished,
Yeah.
being one of the first 2 women to graduate from Naval Academy, attending the
Well, it was just an excuse, Bill, wasn't it?
Yes, they were looking for what?
They were looking for me to resign. And
Right.
that's what I basically did. I said I will take 3 more years maternity leave because I had an infant to look after and I couldn't move to Bodø.
And so do you believe this was deliberate on their behalf?
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that it was deliberate.
Okay. So there was a period of time in your life when you served in politics in Norway. Can you tell us about that and your experience in politics?
Yeah, let me first tell you why I went into politics. Because I caught myself complaining a lot. And then I talk with myself like most people do. And I said to myself, instead of complaining, either you shut up or you do something about it. So I talked to myself again and I said, what can I do about it? I can enter politics. It seemed to me that that's where things happened.
What party did you serve with?
Well, it was a Christian party. They call themselves Christians.
Oh, yes. And what were your experiences? And tell them what your role was, your elected role.
Well, I was in the city council for many years. And as a lot of experiences I had there, but first of all, the reason why I resigned from that position after many years was that before Christmas I got a bunch of papers. I think it was 400 papers that was supposed to be dealt with during the last meeting that year. And I realized it's not humanly possible to get through all these documents and do it in a responsible way. It's not possible. So, because I had a full-time job on the side, I'd like quite a few city council members have, but it wasn't possible to do it responsibly. So,
what was your experience in working with radical communists and leftists in government?
Well, they only listen to themselves, just like here in Canada. They listen to themselves.
Were you attempting to reduce waste, cost, and variation and return value to the taxpayer?
Yeah.
And how were you dealt with by the radical leftists as you did this?
Oh, they didn't understand it.
They literally couldn't even comprehend the language you were speaking.
No, they couldn't understand it.
So in terms of your career, after resigning from the Navy at the pay grade of commander, I understand that as the kids grew up, you went and returned working for the Defense Department as a senior advisor. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And your immediate supervisor was a civilian. Is that correct?
Yeah, the second in command. Yeah.
And did she hate your guts?
Yeah.
Did she try to make your life hell on earth because you were trying to reduce waste, cost, and variation?
I don't know why she did it.
Can you tell us about Janteloven?
Yeah, that's a hard one, Bill.
Janteloven is the ideology that exists in Scandinavia that basically says, who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah.
You don't think you're special, do you?
Yeah.
You don't think anyone cares about you, do you? You don't think you have a right to an opinion, do you?
No.
It is how the Borg manifest themselves. it is a demand for absolute social conformity. It is, in my opinion, the reason that Scandinavia is so besought and besotted by social collectivism and radical leftist politics that involve, most importantly, social engineering. So while I was there when I first moved in late 2012, you had been commissioned by Storting, which is your parliament, to review the sale of military property at the end of the Cold War. How long did that take you?
It took a year.
Mm-hmm. And how did you conduct that research?
Well, first of all, I had worked with that subject for many years, so
Mm-hmm.
basically I was an expert.
And you put a team together involving whom?
It was a team of experts from Denmark and Britain, and
Environmentalists as well?
yeah,
And you went and visited the outer communes
yeah,
where these properties were located?
yeah.
When you compiled that report,
Mm.
you had process improvement suggestions in it?
I had some suggestions, yes.
To do what? To make things better?
Yeah, of course, that
Yeah.
was the point. That's why I did the survey.
And to save the taxpayers money,
yeah, of
potentially?
course, of course.
And when you handed the report in, what happened?
Well, it was thrown in the trash bin.
Because, of course, your only job was to tell Storting everything's just an ass.
Yeah.
Is this a prevalent sentiment in radical socialist countries?
Yeah, I think it is.
So by 2014, when I was losing my mind because I couldn't believe I was living with the human equivalent of the Borg, I asked you when we were living in Vätra, just outside of Asker, what the hell is this? What did you tell me?
I told you that many years earlier I had read about the Frankfurt School, and at that time I thought it was absolutely ridiculous, and nobody could take this serious. But there was a school, and that's obviously what a lot of people believe today. They believe this
And what is their theory? What's it called?
critical theory.
Yeah. And
I
you learned,
wanted to discuss it,
right.
but
And what happened?
nobody wanted to.
No one would talk to you about it.
No, nobody wanted to talk
And
about it.
so where had you learned about the Frankfurt School in particular?
Well,
You took a degree, right?
yeah, I took a degree
For fun, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, at the university in Oslo.
Mm.
And I did that after I had studied at the Naval Academy
Mhm.
and the School of Staff, of course.
What was your degree in?
I took a degree in art and history.
And philosophy, correct?
And philosophy, yes.
Yeah.
Later I studied philosophy, and I had to do, in order to, that's the funny thing. In order to study at the university, I had to take a beginner's course, like I had never studied before.
With the aim,
So I did that.
right. And the aim of that beginner's course was to make sure that you were thinking the right thoughts.
Yeah, that's what I said after I'd done it. I said, this is brainwashing. I saw it so clearly. It was brainwashing.
Okay. How prevalent do you think brainwashing is today? Not just in Scandinavia, but here.
Well, it looks like people are brainwashed
Why do you think they're brainwashed?
because they behave like they are.
Is it because they're incapable of rational thought outside of the socialist collective?
I think that this Frankfurt School actually creates people who believe in that everything is directed towards the common good. no matter what object, everything, as long as it's to the what they call the common good, everything is allowed.
And what happens to the individual under this?
Well, the individual dies, of course.
Oh.
And this is why I had to leave Norway, because I felt that they were killing me.
Right.
I was dying.
And here in Canada, what do you see?
The same.
Yeah, same damn thing.
Yeah, I thought I moved to a different part of the world where the individual could actually thrive.
And in fact, what we're witnessing is the death of the individual.
Absolutely.
Which is, of course, the very underpinning belief of Western liberal democracy. The sovereign and accountable person, accountable to God.
Yeah.
No one gets to come to God unless you admit you're a sinner.
Yeah.
If you're a virtue signaling, moralizing idiot that believes that by virtue of reciting the same line of shite that everybody else that's a cultural Marxist recites, that's going to replace your individual morality, you are both delusional and you are a threat to civil order. So I am a radical counter-revolutionary. What I learned about these things, I've learned as a result of my lengthy and difficult conversations with Anne-Siri. I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And for your importance.
Yeah.
In helping me develop a better understanding of what proper civil order requires. Mm-hmm. And because I keep saying it, and I'll say it till I'm bloody dead, there is no political solution to this problem. This is a moral, philosophical, and spiritual crisis.
Yeah.
So I intend to use Anne-Siri more in the future. I hope you enjoyed this interview with her. And please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. God bless you all. Have a great Sunday.
God bless you.